Hey, I'm Andrew Connell. This video is an overview of one of the chapters in my course that's available for purchase on my site, Voitanos.io. This overview video is going to give you an idea of everything that the chapter covers. You can learn more by checking out the description in the notes below the video. If you got any questions about this chapter or about the course in general, just make sure you drop a comment below below the video, and I'll be sure to get back to you. So with that, let me get out of the way. Enjoy the overview to this chapter. Hi, welcome back to the course. This is the second chapter of my free starter bundle on my course, Mastering the SharePoint Framework. And in this chapter, I want to introduce you to the SharePoint Framework. You may be brand new to the SharePoint Framework, also known as SPFx, and you also may have a little bit of an understanding on what it is. But depending on your level of knowledge, you might want to skip this chapter or some of the lessons within this chapter. Just let me explain to you what we're going to cover in these different lessons so you can make that decision. Now I'm going to start with a reflective look down memory lane at the history of SharePoint and explore how we got to where we are today in the SharePoint development world. I think having some perspective on why we have this current development model helps you understand the SharePoint framework and how it fits and why Microsoft created it. Then I'm going to introduce you to the SharePoint framework. And my goal in this lesson is for you to understand what the SharePoint framework is, and just as important, what it is not. This introduction is capped off with a demo seeing how to work with components authored using the SharePoint framework from an end user point of view. Now, after exploring the SharePoint framework, we're going to compare it to the previous options that were available to us, such as for SharePoint developers, such as comparing and contrasting it so that you have an idea of what makes the most sense for the task at hand. And then at the end of this chapter, I have a lesson that's going to explain all the different places where you can go to get documentation, resources both from Microsoft and the community, and get additional help when you're working with the SharePoint framework. Now, the notes for this last lesson is going to have a lot of additional links for you to check out and evaluate. From different groups on social media platforms to public forums, chats, and communities, I'll keep updating the notes as the options change over time. Also, make sure you check the comments out because I'm seeing students add some stuff as well. How does that sound? Sound good? Fantastic. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started with this chapter. I'll see you in the next lesson. That ACEs are founded on. You should watch this primer lesson if you've never worked with adaptive cards before. But if you're already familiar with adaptive cards, feel free to skip to the third lesson where we dive right into ACEs. So I'll see you in the next lesson.